All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's mastermind. We are going to talk about a very delicate subject that I hate, as most people do that are ADHD like me, and that's how to prepare a business plan, uh, how to actually incorporate your ideas into paper, how to execute. So today's title is 7 Essential Components for a Real Estate Business Plan. A lot of times when we get into real estate, our thoughts are we get our license, we get a client, we sell a house, we make a commission. The basic needs of a real estate agent is to sell a house to make a commission. But why do you need to make that income? Our basic needs, we got to make a car payment, we have to make a house payment, we have to clothe our kids, and we may want to take some vacations eventually. And some of us may be trying to augment or subsidize income that already comes in. But the reality is, as time goes by, those things tend not to be good enough, especially with the stress that you deal with in this business. So creating a business plan is essential if you want to have longevity in this career, because the reason you're selling real estate your first year in real estate shouldn't be the same reasons why you're selling real estate your 10th year in real estate. Creating that business plan will help you scale your business to accomplish the goals that you have. And primarily those goals could be financial, but there could be more. And I'll give you an example. One of the things that I learned over the course of my career is that I really like to teach and mentor agents as well as clients on just, the things that I've learned about real estate and how to invest in real estate. And so that's over time has become part of my business plan. And that's why I'm sitting here in front of you today. So start to think about, what does your business look like year 1, year 5, year 10, year 15, and so on and so forth. And then you can start to deconstruct and create a business plan that's solid throughout your process here. All right. So first step is developing your real estate mission statement. So this should be something that is clearly defined. Why are you doing what you're doing? The purpose should be specific, and it should have value that benefits you and those that you love, of course, and those that you serve. And think beyond the cut and dry. Try to find something that's noble and what drives your process. Why do you do what you do? That's what the mission statement is. So this is the topic that we talk about of, I want to get into real estate because I want to help first-time buyers realize the American dream, and then try to dissect that. Who is the first-time buyer, and what does that buyer look like? Put a face to that person, put a situation to that person. And a lot of times we find our mission as being something that resonates with us because we've personally been involved. We've all been first-time buyers or will one day become one. And so that being part of your mission based off of your personal experience is very admirable. And a mission statement doesn't have to be very long. It could be literally like a sentence or two. So your next step is going to be to complete your SWOT analysis. Most of you may have heard of a SWOT analysis, but we'll dig in a little deeper today to figure out how that applies to coming up with a solid business plan. The acronym SWOT stands for 4 keywords that every business owner, not just real estate, but every business owner should identify. They include strengths. What are your strengths? What are some things that make you stand out above the competition? If you're replaceable, if I can switch you out with someone else, then you're in trouble. You need to identify what makes you better than or makes you more marketable when it comes to being compared to someone else who happens to have a real estate license. And then you need to identify your weaknesses and be honest with yourself. What are some things that you're not good at that are needed for you to be successful in real estate. Um, I'll give you a perfect example for me. I'm very unorganized, very unorganized. It's very hard for me to stay focused and to stay organized, but at the same time, my OCD kind of keeps me in a position to where I'm always overwhelmed by the fact that I'm not organized. And I identify that as a weakness, and I've put some things into place to make sure that I could stay organized to stay with my business plan and stay with my business goals. O is for opportunities. What opportunities are there in your market that are being underserved? Who are the people that are being underserved? What are the things that aren't being done in your market that you think pose a great opportunity for your market? What are your threats? That's what the T's for. Who's your competition? And it's not necessarily a person, or for that matter, another company. A lot of times, especially in this industry and as quickly as it's evolving, it could be a different concept. All of us on this call, we know about the likes of Zillow. A few years ago, Zillow was great because you could, purchase leads and get more clients out of it. And of course, at the time, Zillow said, we're not interested in getting in the brokerage business. And here we are, we fast forward to today, 2022, and Zillow operates offices, real estate offices. So they are a direct competitor. That is definitely a threat because they have access to the consumer. They figured out how to master that, how to get the consumer to come to them first. And now they're adding on layers. So when the consumer comes to them, instead of necessarily selling or sending them to you, they may keep them in-house and sell them a house directly through their licensed agents. There are licensed agents that work for Zillow now. And that's just an example. It's not something to be fearful of. It's something to identify and figure out and we'll go back to the very beginning. What are your strengths? What makes you unique? Because that's what people want. They want someone that can offer something, whether that be a personality trait, whether that be a skill set that no one else can. So do this analysis for yourself. Write it down on paper. Identify these areas. Don't solve the problem yet, but identify the area. And as you do that, you can it will help you with how your business plan should be structured. Knowing what you're up against and how you're better or worse with someone that's competing is definitely going to help you set your goals in the proper place and in the proper time. Speaking of setting goals, you need to set specific goals. Not next year, I want to sell as many houses as I can. That's an open-ended statement. What is as many houses as you can? What allows you to sell as many houses as you can? And what factors can you take out of place to sell even more houses? So specifically in the notes, it says, do you want to make $6,000 a month? Do you want to make $12,000 a month? Do you want to make $20,000 a month? How do you identify that? And then when you figure that number out, and I love numbers because that helps you identify, especially in this business, what does that equate to in way of closings? How many houses do I need to sell to hit my income goal based off of median price point? It's super simple. If it's not necessarily a dollar figure, if it's a production figure, next year I want to sell 36 houses. How many houses is that per month? And then what does that equate to as well as in way of contacts, leads? And how many leads do I need to convert them into a closed client? So that should be something, again, that you should write on paper. You should identify it, set a goal that's attainable, but is not super easy. Set something that's going to be a challenge and is going to require you to plug in every single day that you're working on your business. And consider both the long and short term. So next year, I may want to make $100,000 so that I can be able to hire a part-time assistant. And in order for me to do that and to be able to pay a part-time assistant, I'm going to need to make X amount of dollars. And let's say that number is $100,000 because I got to make an income as well. And so based off of that, okay, if I want to make $100,000, then that means I need to sell 20 houses this year. How do I sell 20 houses? Well, in order to sell a house, I need 10 leads. You get where I'm going with this? So how many leads do I need to sell 20 houses? Okay, so once I figure out how many leads I need, how much money or what are the best ways or the most effective ways affordably that I can get that amount of leads to make the $100,000. So the year after next year, I can hire that part-time assistant. And that's what your business plan is going to help you do. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because if you can sell those houses, those 20 houses without an assistant, when you hire that assistant, when you reach your goal, then what is that? How is that in your business plan going to, how does hiring that assistant going to affect your business plan? Because you certainly shouldn't be trying to sell 20 houses the following year now that you have a part-time assistant. Or maybe you should, but maybe your goal that following year is to work less hours because now you have a part-time assistant to help you with some of the heavy lifting when it comes to transaction management. So break this down year by year. And that's where the whole 3-year, 5-year, 10-year goal should be set. And don't worry about it. It's not set in stone, guys. You can always change your business plan as your business changes and as the the climate changes of what we're doing in this industry changes. So consider the long and the short-term goals. Separate your real estate business goals into 2 categories, the long and short term, like we talked about. But also, I think part of your business plan should be your personal plan. Your personal goal should be part of your business plan, rather. You should have a plan that, okay, for example, I want to go on at least 1 vacation per year. In order to do that, I got to make X amount of dollars per year. In order to make X amount of dollars per year, I need to sell X amount of houses. You see where we're going with this? And that's how that rolls into your personal life. You may want to send a kid off to college in the next 5 years. That's a personal goal, right? But it needs to be part of your business plan in order for you to accomplish it. If you go blindly and if you say, I'm going to give it all I got and hope for the best, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to give it all you got. You're going to hope for the best and good things will happen, but you're not necessarily going to know if that's the best or not, because there's no solid plan. You're not following a plan. You have nothing to compare what best is to when it comes to having a plan. So it's really hard to gauge that. So developing a strategic plan, be as specific as possible. Again, you can change it, but be specific today. If today I had to come up with a plan of what tomorrow looks like, how specific would that be? It needs to be as specific as, I'm going to get up this time during the morning. I'm going to eat this for breakfast. I'm going to wear these clothes. I'm going to get off at this time. That's how specific you need to translate your business plan. By the first quarter, I want to accomplish this. By the second quarter, I want to accomplish this. By the end of the year, I want to accomplish these things. And this is how I set forth how I'm planning to do it. Your business should be a living document. So like we talked about, you can change things as your abilities grow, as new challenges come that you face, but you can't change something that doesn't exist. So start with that plan and try to be as specific as possible. Map out what your biggest and best ideas are. Don't be so concerned about affordability, skill set, knowledge, but think about what are those ideas that have always interested you, and put those in your business plan, because then that's a factor of getting the resources you need to accomplish those big ideas. So if money's a problem, then now that we've identified what the problem is, we can identify how we can solve that problem, which is to get money. How do we get money? What are our sources of income? What are our sources of money? Should I get a loan for this? If we don't have the knowledge, what courses should I take? What classes should I take? So those things will not be triggered unless you have them as part of your business plan. Otherwise, you'll just be daydreaming. You'll just be fantasizing. So develop a strategic plan and put it to work. So Evaluating your progress. What's the time frame that you want to achieve the real estate business goals that you have in your business plan? And my thoughts are this: have an annual business plan. So right now we are in April of 2022. You should already be thinking about and brainstorming what your business plan is for 2023. Right now, you should be implementing plans that you've incorporated and were adopted from last year for your 2022 plan. Is it going to happen? No, I didn't even do it. Things happen so quickly. It's very hard to stay abreast, but you should be thinking about that. So this year I'm in 2022. So I'm planning quarterly. And then by the last quarter of this year, I want to have a solid plan into place for 2023. And once 2023 hits, once I'm actually in plan for 2023, I want to start working on a 3-year business plan. And so the point is, allow yourself to create building blocks on how your business plan is going to grow based off of the time, skill set, and knowledge that you have to do it. Do you want to, one of the questions here or in the notes, do you want to set up a website in the next 2 months? That's an example. What are the things that you need to do that? Do you want to grow your sphere of influence by 50 people in the next 3 weeks? How do you do that? How many conversations do you need to have to add 50 people? Do you want to get your broker's license by the end of the year? So having a plan and a time frame in place is super critical, because again, otherwise you're throwing wet rags at a wall and seeing what sticks. The next thing you need to do is you need to define your audience. Who's my target customer? Who am I aiming to attract? Whether that be a client that I'm going to help buy real estate or sell real estate, whether that's a team member that I'm going to partner with to help me scale my business and their business, so on and so forth. What type of properties? What's your niche? What properties do you want to sell? The one thing that I learned very early in my career is that you can't be really good at everything. You can be really good at a few things. And so one of the issues that I had starting out in real estate is I was any kind of agent you needed me to be, because I saw a commission at the end of the sale. So today I'm a residential agent because you want to buy a house. And oh, by the way, we have a conversation. You want to buy a house. You're going to want to start a business one day. So do I know anything about commercial property? Well, at the time, no, I didn't, but I'll definitely help, because that's big commission dollars. Wrong answer. I didn't have the skill set to help a client, and I'm doing a disservice to my client by trying to focus on a niche that I don't specialize in. Hell, at the time, I didn't even specialize in residential. So think about what types of properties you want to buy, help people buy and sell. Focus on how you can get there. One of the easiest ways that we start in this industry is we all start with residential real estate. And I think that that's a good thing. But I'm not necessarily saying that you can't do commercial because you don't have the experience or you haven't been in the business long enough. I believe personally that you should start with residential because you can get the basics of how real estate operates. But if commercial is your thing, then you need to have in your business plan what year and time frame you intend to go into commercial. When do you plan on transitioning out of residential into commercial real estate? Defining your audience is key, because if you don't, then you're trying to become friends with everybody. Have you ever gone to a party and you try to meet everybody? It's impossible. But if you know what you're looking for, if you know who your people are, then it's very easy to identify them, and it's very easy for them to identify you. All right, so systems and processes. All right, so will your CRM, will your customer relationship management track your clients and their needs? Do you have specific marketing programs that you plan to use? These things are important, and I'll say definitely in the beginning, because it's like I mentioned earlier, I'm very unorganized, and I'm paying for that to this day in my career, because the things that I should have done earlier in my career, like keep all of my contacts in one place, keep all my systems together, have really hurt me in the way of it's been very hard to follow it with people that I had the pleasure of serving 10 years ago. Um, thank God for cell phones, right? Because we typically lock in contacts in our phones, but it's really hard to, if I want to create a list, for example, of buyers that bought a house from me from year 2005 to 2007, that's impossible to do with my phone. Having a good CRM will help me do that. And so I can start to market and start to reach out to those people, because, you know, that was well over 10 years ago. And those people, if they haven't already, they're probably ready to sell. And it would behoove me to follow up with them and see how they're doing. But that's the thing that you need to incorporate, making sure that you have systems and processes, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet, a Google Calendar. Don't go out here spending money that you don't have. Spend money that you make in invest money that you make from the business back into your business. But start simple, but be consistent with your process. So track your goals, review your goals. If you were in the last session where we talked about, scheduling, making sure things are on a calendar, part of your schedule should be reviewing your business plan on a scheduled basis. So you may want to do, a follow-up on your business plan to start with monthly, until you can track if your goal setting and accomplishments are lining up. And then it may evolve to where you're doing it quarterly. And I think quarterly is probably the longest that you need to go, but essentially, if you're really doing really well, you may eventually get to a point where you're only looking at it semi-annually. Um, but it doesn't make sense to write a business plan and not review it. Then it's just kind of a letter to yourself that has no impact. But reviewing that business plan is important, because if you can see that based off your business plan from 3 months ago, you set your goals way too low based off of your performance. And so now it's time to edit that business plan and scale it to something else so that you can push yourself a little bit more. So let's review the things that are essential to having a solid business plan. Having a mission statement, clearly defining what your purpose is and the benefit you provide to the consumer and to yourself. That's what your mission statement is. My who, what, where, why. Particularly your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And it doesn't have to be all philosophic. I think that's what complicates things. I sell houses to make a living because I like the lifestyle real estate has afforded myself and my family. And my goal is to retire by this age. And in order to do that, I need to sell X amount of houses within the next X amount of years. That's simple. You can make it poetic as time goes by, but start with something. Next, evaluate your SWOT. Your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities that are available, and any threats that present themselves from keeping you from accomplishing your business plan. Specific goals. Separate your goals, short-term, long-term, business goals versus personal goals. How your personal goals can be affected by your business goals, and vice versa. Identify those. Come up with a strategic plan to accomplish what your mission statement is and what your specific goals are. Determine the strategies that you'll use to achieve those goals, the plan, and how it will evolve as your abilities and your skill set grows. Next, determine the time frame of your business plan. The initial business plan I would suggest is let it be for the first year. If you're in your first year of real estate, your business goals, your business plan should include, making sure you've accomplished all your licensing requirements. You've learned all the platforms that there are out there that you're going to use to do business, how to script, how to go over forms with potential clients. That should be part of your business plan, and what time frame you're going to do that. Your target audience. Who are your people? Who is your village? Identify your village and don't veer from it. Don't try to meet new clients that don't match up with your personality, because I'll tell you right now, based off of experience, it doesn't work. When you try to become someone that you're not to attract someone that is not a fan, it's just going to make things worse. It creates a frustrating experience. So identify your target audience. Who are the people you want to serve, and who are the people that can benefit from your services? And then you can hone in on the skills that you need to be able to provide them with the best service. Lastly, systems and processes. Figure out what systems you're going to do to manage your business plan, how effective they are. If you incorporate a system that doesn't work, especially if it costs money, fire that system. Treat your systems and processes like employees. If they're not performing, then fire them and hire something else. But incorporate systems, because like me, you can't keep it all up here. I try to do it all the time. It does not work. And slowly but surely, I'm starting to roll things into my systems and processes that I use. So those are the key things that you need to have an effective business plan. I promise you, and most of you have probably heard it, if you write it down, it's way more effective, and it's a lot easier to accomplish it. A business plan is that entirely. I've been able to accomplish in 1 year what it's taken me 3 years to accomplish otherwise without a business plan, because I have a goal, and it helps me avoid the distractions that are not part of my business plan. So I hope that this session's been effective in helping you determine, okay, well, where do I even start? You know, when people hear business plan, the thought of it is overwhelming, but it's not that difficult. In fact, you can start really simply. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, and start writing, start typing on your computer. The first step is to put a title, business plan. And then from there, you can determine, what is my business plan? What are the things that I need to incorporate? So if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to get your feedback. Please add a comment and let me know how incorporating a business plan has helped you. What are some things you would suggest adding to a business plan, or some notes or tips that people can use to write an effective business plan or come up with an effective business plan? This is a collaborative effort, so I think together we can become better. And again, thank you for your attentiveness and joining me on today's call, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.